And for the final time under the title of drama, we are live. It's Friday. It's Pi Day. It's Drama Day. It's Dromedary. I don't know, but here we are again on another Friday afternoon, my time, 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. And we have joined once again together to talk about all things technical, Raspberry Pis, Linux, anything else that's fun and interesting. Keep it outside politics and religion and the big shutdown, and I'm a happy guy. And we will be here somewhere between 1 and 2 hours as we celebrate the end of 2022. Today is January 30th of 2022. It therefore becomes New Year's Eve. So it was yesterday, New Year's Eve. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? Look, okay, it's the end of an era. Drama's going away. This is the last one. 30 days or less, it will be replaced by something fun, interesting. It'll have similarities. Andromeda is coming. And oh man, you know what? I've turned this vacation. I got about 2.5 weeks of vacation that I saved up, and we were planning on doing it up. And then the missus changed jobs and lost all her vacation time and had to start much sooner than she anticipated. So it's a staycation for me. So I have turned this into prepping for Andromeda. So I got a lot of good stuff done. Excuse me. Somebody's got to be the CEO of Twitter. Hey, when we get rolling later today, we're going to do a slideshow, and I've got the slideshow broken up into 3 parts because we did this in 2020, 2021, and 2022. See how that's going to break out. But you know me, I get wrapped up in something and I'm clicking and shucking, and I stop watching the chat feed. So I have my phone volume up. All you nice mods of the Unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel server, UTSD. If bad guys turn up, will you please wonk me with a DM, and I will hear that and get them killed. In a very literal way, if I can accomplish that. Well, all right. Hey, we are off to a rolling start. Everybody knows it's the demise is here, and so you've all come in to see me blubber away and as I ugly cry. No, I'm not going to do that until I'm at bed tonight beside my wife. Why are you ugly crying? Dramas, go. I'm watching the other camera. I haven't seen that yet. I'm still waiting for it to happen. It's about, there it goes. Ugly cry begins. 7 seconds delayed. All right, well, let's see who is amongst the living here. What a shock. On the dot, 30 minutes prior to showtime, the Grand Tullowit appears, and followed by Patricia Grace, 22 minutes later, with all of the bling of the new year. I didn't do much for Christmas, and I don't have it well decorated, but quantity-wise, I am just packed to the gills for New Year's. So, and I'm looking in the background at my reflection in the camera, as it were, my Christmas present, and his partner, the B9 robot from Lost in Space, is on its way. So when Andromeda comes back, it'll be a similar set, but it'll be cleaned up and organized, and Robbie and B9 will definitely make their appearance. Okay, I heard my phone wonk. I had to check to see, was it already got problems here? All right, back to who's here. Andre de Goyert is here 1.5 seconds after Patricia Grace turns up. And Patricia Grace is off work today. Huzzah. They do recognize these. This is not tea, because we had an ice storm last week and there was just not enough sun to make sun tea. So I'm drinking soda. Betland here, 3 minutes prior to showtime. Well done. Everybody's saying hi to each other. Here comes Kylie Powder. Hello, all. I've got my chips and candy for this drama party ready. All right. I'm a terrible eater. I try to keep my mouth closed, but I eat like a child sometimes and stuff spews. And that's why you've never seen me eat anything whilst on camera. Things are better now. I don't come out as much. So no longer do I destroy shirts, stuff dribbles. Now it goes straight to my legs when I'm sitting down. Follow it. Rumor has it that at the end of this show, Dave Rush will untie the tie on his tux and break into My Way. Listen, you My Way people, I've been pushing this movie on you for years and nobody has ever written back and said, hey, Dave, I watched that movie. You're exactly right. I got nothing going on here but a slideshow today. So Mad Dog time. And you're going to hate it the first time. Maybe you won't. I liked it the first time, but you got to be weird to like it the first time. Let it sit for a month, 2 months before you watch it again, and do that like 2 or 3 times. And after the third time, you will begin to appreciate what an awesome, incredible, amazing movie and cast it is, and the dialogue and there's a rendition of My Way in there, sung by the original author of it, Paul Anka, in conjunction with Gabriel, what's his name? Ha. And hello, Kylie Powder. Yes, Patricia Grace. In all the years that I have known her, only today did I say, oh wait, Patricia Grace, that's PG. Joey Quetzel is here building his Uber. I'm sorry. What's in that tea that's not tea? His Uber VM server. So hope you get a good handle on the specs you're going to need for that. Yes, pretty lights. I thought, we're going to do it up. I got lasers coming out the wazoo, as they say. And so I thought, well, I had to fire one up at least. I don't think I've ever done dance lighting or anything like here. And, it's such a side gig for me, a side hustle. I have many dozens of all kinds of different dance lights, including a couple dozen lasers. So I was walking by the warehouse on my way and said, oh, grab a laser. That'll make the 2023 look good. This 2023 is really cool. I picked up at the party store all the accoutrements to hang. And why am I watching that? That's just in the way. We are putting together my son's college graduation party for this year, and like all good party planners, a party takes a year. Okay, a year to plan, a day to set up, and 45 minutes to take down. So this is part of the year of planning. I thought, oh, wait a minute, all of his other stuff that we're doing is in black and white or black and gray, and now I don't have to say, congratulations, graduate 2023. I can just reuse this. You know how frugal I am. Andre, man, I hate your words because I can only anglify them. Let's take a whack at it. Sorry, I super scold. Oli Bolin, fried donuts. I've seen you call them fried donuts with raisins. So cool bananas. Fermented grape juice, ready to rock. Very good. I will be doing something fermented this week. The kids' college, Texas Tech, those of you in the U.S., made a good bowl game this year. And then they really upped the ante. We go to a game up in Lubbock, 10 hours away, once a year for the last couple of years. And bowl games are never held in the home stadium. The bowl game they were in was the Tax Act Texas Bowl. Oh, that means it's going to be in Texas. Where is the Texas Bowl in Texas? NRG Stadium here in Houston. So bought a couple of tickets and I didn't go because I bought a couple of tickets and could not get a third in time or from a trustworthy source. So the missus and the kid went to the bowl game, and Texas Tech kicked butt over SEC Ole Miss. They kicked butt. Texas Tech was the 3.5 point underdog. They won by what, 14, 15 points, something like that. I watched it here on television and it really, I'm hanging myself. I'm knotting ropes and hanging over the rafters to do this because there was a game before that, and the rules of broadcast around here are if a game isn't finished when the next game that they're supposed to start showing starts, tough. You got to wait for the first game to finish. It took almost a full quarter for this thing to finish. They went into triple overtime. So I'm texting the family, and they've got a little score thing in the upper right-hand corner of the monitor, but I'm missing great action. So I only caught 3/4 of the game, but wow, what a game. All right, I know that's my thing. I got things. Plot twist. Dave is really ending drama because he's been chosen as the new CEO of Twitter. In fact, what happened with that, you're very close to right. I'm going to co-CEO with Snoop. Kylie Powder, waiting for my husband to drop off my fermented grape juice. Very good. I haven't picked up the sparkly fermented grape juice for Sunday morning yet. I will be out and about this evening. I don't mess around with junk anymore. TD Wash. Hola, TD Washington. Hi to you too. Here comes everybody thumbing up and thumbing downing, and body count is way bigger than last time. DM. So not in the Bat Cave or anywhere else, just regular DM me if you see bad guys turn up. Thank you. Kind of a disco light. I got disco lights. I wonder if you can see this. Yeah, you can get, oh, wow. That makes them sparkle even more. They're my Christmas light disco lights, but I left them up. Kylie Powder, thank you, Dave, for such a great show. You introduced me to Raspberry Pi and the new my new true love Linux, which is now the only OS used in my home. Wow. Wow. I am honored. You're welcome, but I'm sure you would have discovered it elsewhere, but that's awesome. Yeah, you know what? That is the success. 123 shows in the can after this one, and that's the check mark that says I accomplished something, and so did you. So thank you very much. I too have so much more Linux running now, including having mostly switched to a new Linux daily driver. And I'll have more to say about that in the future. Okay, yes, PM, DM, whatever you want to call it. Mr. G is here. Hey, y'all. I love when people say y'all. I've learned to say that in the last 30 years. Trisha Grace talking to Andre. You mentioned UTSD. I mentioned UTSD. Here, let's go further. Let's put the link up for UTSD. Unofficial total. You know what? Let's put other links up here too. Let me get all my link posting out of the way, and then I'll read them and say that they all went up at whatever time this is, 13 minutes past the hour. So there goes the Pi R Square server. I'm going to do a slideshow today with lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of pictures over the last 3 years of shows. Excuse me. And some of them I'm going to zip by real quickly. They're repetitive. They're, you know, whatever. They lack some interest in some areas. So if you go to pirsquare.zapto.org, I just posted it. On the main page, there is a link that says something gallery. Go to the gallery, click on that gallery, and you'll see on the left-hand side, Drama 2020, Drama 2021, and Drama 2022. By the way, it's going to pop up and it's going to prompt you for a donation. Just click the no thanks, and that won't happen again until next time you go to the page. And you can follow along with every picture and photograph that I will be showing here. So if there's something that I zip past and you say, no, I wanted to see that, then you can. Okay, that's stuff, and then emails and LinkedIn profiles, and that's everything that I need to post. So the invitation to the Unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel has been posted. Join us. There's lots and lots and lots of good stuff and good people over there. And I'm always on. Drama may go away. Dave doesn't go away. Please make Dave go away. I'll post this again in a little while. We got 2 hours. Disco Ball. Danger, Will Robinson. You betcha. Yeah, sure. Uh-huh. William Jeske, red 5, standing by, red leader. I don't remember the other numbers. Blue leader standing by. I don't remember he had a number. And of course, we all know Porkins. And while I've never read and never bothered to try, you just know that they got a heavy duty actor in there, and director says Porkins, that's going to be his name. Because he's a big dude. Blue Lantern. Hello, sir. Hello, Blue Lantern. I try not to do the sirs and ma'ams. One day I'm going to meet somebody. I don't see Will Shaw anywhere. I am due to meet up with Will Shaw this Sunday. He'll land at Intercontinental, take the shuttle bus down to his hotel downtown and get checked in, at which point I will be there and pick him up, and we're going to spend the afternoon and the evening on the town, take him down to Total Seminars, give him the grand tour of Sunday night. Reading messages here. No. All right, you're going to make me do that. Gabriel. Last name Gabriel. Not Ferguson. Actor. No, it's not going to come to me. I always throw Ferguson at it because I think he's Scottish or Welsh or something like that. And so he reminds me of Craig Ferguson. It's not Peter Gabriel either. Don't do that. People talking to each other. I'm going to let you guys have your own private conversations there. I shan't be commenting on it. Abu Bakr Al-Haj, salam alaikum, my friend. Good to see you back. Glenn Dady, greetings all. That's a fine South American name. I stole that joke from Mike, but I like it. I will be using that again in the future. Oh, good. Thank you, Andre. I just can't pronounce David Rouge correctly. Holy Bolin, Holly Bolin. I'm wearing my Tevi hat today. Reb Devi. Where is the little boy? What is my son in university for? Dave asks Kylie Powder. It is his punishment for dealing methamphetamines. And so they said, look, it's either prison, the army, or go get a degree. So he chose that, and he's studying underwater basket weaving, which is much more complicated than you might think. His name is Ben, and he is studying a mechanical engineering. He has 1 semester to go. He will go back after Christmas and do his 3.5 months or whatever it is, and then walk the plank. I mean, walk the stage. I have planks in the in the water back here for him to walk. It's kind of cool. This is the 100th anniversary of Texas Tech University, TTU. And so all the graduates are getting swag up the wazoo. Man, I just moved and I saw myself totally fuzz out. Sorry about that. Zoltan Banyo is amongst us. I hope that's Banyo. No, it's not. There's nothing over the end. Bano. Either way, Hungarian or thereabouts. Okay, so starting at 2:13, I posted the link to my Pi Square archive server. You've heard my spiel on it before. I'm not going to beat you up on it again. There's cool stuff on there, and especially today, I've got all the pictures that I'm going to be showing during the slideshow in a little bit. So if you want to follow along at home with full-size pictures or whatever, I'll throw them all up as a single zip file when I'm done. And I thought about doing that, and it got to be a busy morning, but I'll put them up this afternoon. As ever and always, again, even when drama's gone, every Friday morning, I will fire up the pirsquare.zapto.org web server and leave it running full time until Sunday night when I go to bed. And then anytime anybody wants it for any of my old documents or whatever, it will just kick me a note in via email or on UTSD or whatever, and tell me when you want it up, and it will be. Let's see. The invitation to UTSD is right after that. Just click on that link. If you're not already a member of Discord, they'll make you create an account. There you go. We've got I have 500 regular users in there. Blue Lantern at 213. If you use Linux with no GUI and access a web page, the web page GUI'd or is your email GUI'd? Neither. If you don't have a GUI on Linux, then you don't, do I want to say this? You don't see a graphical web page, right? It's got to have a graphical environment. A couple weeks ago, you probably remember it. Let's get the date on here because I'm looking at all this happy stuff. Pix 22. I showed you how to access web pages from the command line. Install. Oh, okay, I see. I can't get it from there. Hang on, I will have that date for you. Because it was in the last 2 months. Right here. Okay, we go up here, click. I could search for it, but I know it's so close. I just want to, I expect to see it here. Boink, wipe data, wipe disk, finding host, drama, finding install Nginx. Fine. Web CLI. Access websites from CLI. November 11th. It was the November 11th episode. You can use command line, and there are 2 ways to use the command line. Check out that episode, 11/11 of 2022. And you can either get just text content back on the command line, or there's a couple of utilities that I showed you that will create sort of a text box and kind of sort of format a web page. No pictures or anything like that, but anything that's textual on a website you can get from there. But if you want to see graphical, you're going to need to install a desktop, Genome or Mate or Pixel or one of the many desktop environments. At 2:13, I posted today's specials. Man, I hope we get new specials next year. But it's the usual one, 50% off the ebook and matching total tester bundle. You go to totalsem.com, you pick one of the 7 topics that I have listed at 2:13, and you get the ebook. Only works for the ebook for that topic and the matching total tester practice test. Put them both in the basket. And when you check out, you have until Sunday night, midnight my time, I think, to take advantage of this 50% offer on both of those items. You put in the code Mayflower, one word, all lowercase, and you will get those things at 50% off. Next week, probably the same special. Excuse me, but a new code. Can you post Dave's, Mike's, and Steve's email? I can do that. Here is Mike's email. Click post. Here is Mike's LinkedIn profile. Here is Steve's email. Here is Steve's LinkedIn profile. Wish I could do this all on one line, but thank you, YouTube, to get 200 characters. And because you mentioned my name in there, I will repost mine as well. My email and my LinkedIn profile. Okay. Reading questions here. Another plot twist. Dave staring at Debbie, the revival fiddler. Exactly right. Staring. Okay, so my email address was posted. It's now posted again. Okay, he's Irish. Gabriel Byrne. It just came to head. Gabriel Byrne. What an actor. What an actor. Does this awesome stage bit with Paul Anka doing My Way. Sorry, I'm thinking of the scene. That whole movie just cracks me up. It's really violent, and it's a comedy, but it's a really dark comedy. Webpage. If you have a now, if you have a graphical environment and you call for a web page from the command line, it should trigger your graphical browser when the response comes in, because it'll come in port 80. Maybe. There's some things you have to do to make sure that happens in advance. Then Datey, are there retro compute geeks here? Oh, Will Shaw. He buys the oldest junk and salvages it. There are some people here who are retros because they have to be, budgets and whatever. Say, oh, the best I could find was this old junk computer, but I got Linux running on it. But I don't think in all the years that we've been doing this that I can think of more than one person who's just a real enthusiast of retro computing. I am, but I go so retro. I go S100, Altair 88s, my first computer, S100 bus computers, things like that. And I have none of that. Just before a hurricane clobbered Florida, I had a deal struck with a person, and then he got hit by the hurricane and we didn't finish it. But oh man, it was a complete IMSI Altair 88 with everything, and I was ready to fork over enough money to buy a small state. So I've been on the prowl for the last 5 years, but most of you would not know. You program that thing by putting in addresses C400, C40, C4, and then a hexadecimal or octal command or data or whatever. It's something that, yeah, you could buy floppies and you could buy other kinds of input devices, but I'm a purist when it comes to stuff like that. Andre, I'd like to visit Total Sim, but I'm not a pilot, and flying is way out of budget. You know, if you get hold of the landing gear before it goes up, and I'm going to recommend an oxygen model and a nice jacket. Glenn Datey in Massachusetts. I posted a job posting in Ipswich the other day. They needed a pickleball instructor. Gabriel Byrne, Tolowitzer. Okay, came up with it. He's Irish. Okay. You know, once you get north of England, it's all the same. It's Irish, it's Scottish. I know you got to go a little west to get Wales, but northwest. Working on my Apple III today. There you go. Okay, I definitely chewed a lot of teeth in those days with my Commodore VIC-20 and my TI-99 4A. My first PC compatible, my clone, was a Corona 8088. I don't remember if it was an 8086 or 8088, but that bit of nostalgia just struck me 2 days ago. I went on eBay to see if any existed, and there's still some out there. All right, Mad Dog Time free on Tubi currently. There you go, save a nickel. Dave Rush, is there a text-based browser that you use that I would use? Yes, but I don't remember the name. Check out that 11/11 of this year episode. It's not something that I do. It's something that if I ever had to, in fact, that's what triggered that episode. I had a command. I got a server here that had no graphical interface, and I needed to get to a website to find an entry on there so that I could run a wget or a curl on it or something like that. So I went exploring command line web browsers, but I don't recall the name. It's not something that I do regularly. I know how to open a web page from the command line, but I figure you need a browser to view. Yeah, again, check that out, Patricia, or get it from the archive document. Go to pirsquare.zapto.org and go to the download page and download the documents from 11/11/22. And you will find all of my notes and everything on my command line browsing, including the utilities I used. Okay, Mike's email address went up at 2:23, as did mine, and Blue Lantern retracted a message that was already there. Andre at 2:24. Funny how the chat is ahead of the video. YouTube, thank you. Okay, the name of the movie that I'm talking about is called Mad Dog Time. In Europe, it had a different title. It was called Trigger Happy. You go by the cast. It's got Richard Dreyfuss and Jeff Goldblum are the leading cast. You'll find it under there. Look up any movie that has both of those in there. That's the one. It'll either be Mad Dog Time or Trigger Happy. You are not the only dumpster diver here, Andre. I know of at least one other person here. Tellowit, I'm a retro computer geek. Not crazy into it, but I have an old Mac clamshell. Okay. DD Wash sounds like assembly. Yeah, yes, it was. It was machine. I mean, short of binary. It was one step away from binary. Andre, I bought a lottery ticket for tomorrow evening. If I win, I'll be looking for freight. 3 million pounds and make total 30 million, 300 million euros. Sorry, pounds. It still comes up to be about 150 US dollars. So, Catherine Legrand, amongst the living. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you again. Maven Feliciano is back. Hello, drama. Last episode, missed Wednesday's AMA, but saw it last night. Heard about Dave concluding. Very good. I'll get ahead of myself here, by the way. Next week, then, there is one show that's going to happen, right? Mike is taking Monday off. He and Steve will do the Wednesday show. And right now, we are not filling the Friday gap. I know lots of people have lots of ideas for it. Blue Lantern, the Che isn't ahead of the video. It's just Dave actually reads every comment, unlike some others. It's my job. I don't denigrate anybody. All right, that gets me caught up on those. Let's go see what's in Yawn Notes. Doing a contest today, by the way. Be able to convert from binary to decimal. 1 octet. So, welcome to Drama Party Friday. It is Friday, December 30th. It's Christmas Eve. Do you capitalize the second Eve when you do that? I didn't introduce myself. Now's a good time to do that. For the name you'll never need to know, because this show won't exist again after the next 90 minutes. But I am Dave Rush. Yeah, excuse me. Soda hiccups. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars, and this is Drama. Dave Rush, Ask Me Anything. We have historically gotten together every Friday at 2 o'clock Central Time to talk about CompTIA certifications and how to use Raspberry Pis as tools to achieve those certifications, to study for them, to practice. And because I just like Raspberry Pis, we do other fun things with them. Today's show is going to be a recap of many of the shows that we've done over the last 123 episodes. And if there were pictures with that episode, that's pretty much what I did. I just pulled those pictures out and put them in a big slideshow that I'm going to show you. So there's a lot of shows that didn't have slides or pictures or anything like that. I have them all listed, and I'll try and jog your memory with some of my favorites. Hopefully there's some of yours too. This final show is show number 123. There was 124th. That was a non-drama show. That was the first pie show that we ever did that said, hey, Dave likes pies and thinks they're really cool for you. So go out and buy a pie, and here's what you should do to get your first pie up and operational. I think that's actually, I don't know if that's in the archive or not. Let's see. The cold snap did pass, and all is well here in Houston. Passing notes here. We've talked about the unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel, so we're done with that. If you got an in-depth question, send me an email. Obviously, this is an AMA. If you've got a comment or a question, the easiest and bestest way to share that is to post it in the YouTube chat feed. But if you're not watching live or it's too long or whatever, you can contact me directly, drushtx@yahoo.com, daveR@totalsem.com, or contact me over on the Unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel. I posted that link at 13 minutes past the hour. I will post it again in short order. We talked about the AMA specials of the week. It's good through this Sunday night, January 1st. No Pi project today. Pi R Square server is up and running. Let's throw that link up again because I like it. Where we've been, where we're going, huh? Just a reminder, last week we had a cancellation, so we just did Q&A. That lasted a heck of a lot longer than I expected. We shot the breeze for a long time, and thank you for that. News, tricks, and techniques of the week. All right. There's a few shows that I like. You know me, I work way too many hours a day. And by the way, that is my New Year's resolution. I am no longer going to work off hours unless it's a critical necessity, some crisis is happening. I will turn up for work at the scheduled time. I will work the entire day doing nothing but work for work. And then when the end of day workday comes, I'm done. I may sit here and do other things, but I just do too much of it. And you know, I do all that. I have historically put in somewhere between 12 and 16 hours a day, at least 6 days a week. And I'm usually doing some stuff on Sunday, but somewhere in there, you have to take a break. I eat dinner sometimes. I go out with the missus. We try to do stuff on weekends. And we have, over the years, come up with a couple of shows that we like to watch. I've shared them with you in the past. And we also have some favorite movies that I'll if I need to decompress, I'll fire up one of my favorite old movies like Mad Dog Time or Buckaroo Banzai in the Eighth Dimension, which I rewatched just the other day. But you know my favorite shows there, What We Do in the Shadows, right up there. Most of the Star Wars series, Mando, and the other one, Boba Fett, the Star Trek spin-offs. I haven't seen them all, and I can live without them, but I like Picard. I like Discovery or whatever it's called with Michael Burnham. Well, somebody's been pushing on me a show for a while, and I won't go online to find this one, but we've got a retro channel here. I have a traditional old-fashioned television antenna. I was a cord cutter for many years. I've cut the cord at least 20 years ago. And they put more and more of these little tiny broadcast retro stations up. And there's one that's been showing Longmire, 2 episodes a night, 5 nights a week. Wow. It's compelling. It's not perfect, but it's really good. It throws weird mysteries. It kind of has that Lost feeling, except there's nothing supernatural, but they heavily intertwine a lot of plots, leave a lot of loose ends, and then tie them up later. And people forget about, oh yeah, this character was in. I will tell you though, I don't know what season I'm in or whatever, but people heal really fast. So in the last 3 days, I've caught 6 episodes or so, and 2 guys got shot in there. One butt shot. The other one shot somewhere around where your appendix would be through and through. So here we are, what in Showtime would be 6 weeks later, but I think it's compressed because they have stuff that's, this next week's episode picks up the day after last week's episode. So however much time is passing on here, all of these shot people could run marathons. They're walking around like they're on the Packers starting lineup. So that one bothers me. good spelling here. I have notes. Andromeda is shipping up. Perhaps it's shaping up. There we go. 1P, no I's. Anyway, so we know we're going to do Andromeda here. Don't expect it any later than the first week of February. I'm working hard to make it happen fast than that. It has nothing to do with Total Seminars. This is Dave Rush's presentation. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about it. This is Total Seminars time. Tough. It's the end of the year and I'm on vacation. So the focus is going to be broad. It's a broad focus on technology. I gave you a little bit of an outline of my thoughts on what it was and where it was going last week. Now we're kind of fleshing it out even more. Guests are going to be a big part of this. Obviously, I'll still do a lot of Raspberry Pi stuff and Linux stuff, software and hardware projects. But for instance, the first three things that I have on tap aren't particularly tied to Raspberry Pi. For instance, I like technology. I like solar power technology. I don't believe in it. I think it's economically not viable at this time, but I like it. I'm interested in it. And I was staring at some solar powered gobbledygook thing that I have and thought, what happens if I try to charge it this way or that way or this way? And so I decided to put together an experiment, and we're going to do some charging in regular full sunlight, with incandescent lamps, and with LED light sources. Everything that I've read about comparing those is wishy-washy. Not happy, so I'm going to do my own. And there we go. We got a technology show comparing the solar output for the purpose of charging solar or using solar panels as an electrical source using sun, incandescent lights, and LED lights. Next show. This isn't in order. These are just three shows that I have in mind for the earliest days. I was looking for a new CPU yesterday, and I ran across the latest Alder Lake CPU from Intel, and it's 16 cores. I need a 16 core system, and it said 16 cores, 8P and 8E cores. I didn't know anything about P and E cores, so I went down the research rabbit hole. I now know about P and E cores. I need to know a lot more, but that's going to be a show. We're going to talk about P and E cores, what they are, and how to identify them by name. I'll give you a hint. Cove, if an Intel has a code name of Cove in the name, it's performance. And if it has Mont in the name, it's an E core. And Alder Lake is a hybrid of both, so it doesn't have Cove or Mont in it. I'm thinking about an episode of hypervisors above and beyond Hyper-V and VirtualBox. Lots and lots and lots of hypervisors out there for lots and lots of different platforms. So we're going to explore the various ones from VMware, QEMU, QEMU, the Apple hypervisor, not to be confused with Parallels, and bunches of others. And then this one dawned on me the other day. I get this question so frequently, and there's so much misinformation out there. Maybe some of it even coming from people we know and love closely. What happens when you ping the loopback address? I know the answer to it. I always have. And the misinformation that has come out about that and the wrong information drives me nuts. So I'm going to get something recorded on TV that will become a pinnacle of knowledge for all to see. So anyways, it's going to be fun. So that's the kind of stuff that we're going to do. My show charter includes the following two statements. If it can be done with Linux, it will be done with Linux. If it can be done on a Raspberry Pi, it will be done on a Raspberry Pi. CompTIA is not the primary focus. I will certainly include it if and when desired. Again, it's not a Total Seminars production. This is Dave's personal project. Format's going to be similar. One or more guests per month. Haven't picked a day of the week that we're going to do it on, but I know it's not going to be a Monday or a Friday because that makes 4-day weekends and 3-day weekends impossible for me. All right. I will also do this month in my own spare time, create a Raspberry Pi image, a downloadable ISO file that will have as many different servers and Wireshark already set up and prepped. The only thing you have to do is connect it to your SSID or your wired network, so that you can study as much as possible every port and protocol that's necessary for A+, hopefully Net+, and maybe even Security+. That's a commitment that I made to some Redditors at the end of November, and I said I couldn't get to starting work on it until January. Well, here comes January, and I do have some time, so I will be doing that. It's going to be a great project. All right, that's all the news, tricks, and techniques of the week. Let's see what happened question-wise, and then we will come back and do a contest. Be able to convert one octet from binary to decimal, or maybe the other way around. Okay, Super Skull, we got to find everybody here. See some new people turning up. Yes, Kylie Powder, you will still be able to access the Pi server on weekends. Like after this weekend, yes, every weekend. So what I'm going to do with it is I will keep it up and running until I build an Andromeda server in the next month or so. And then you will access the Andromeda server, and everything that's on the Pi R Square server will go into an archive on the Andromeda server. So you continue to access this server as you always have on weekends for the next month. And then after, starting in February or so, there will be a new web server. All that stuff will be available on it. New Year's resolution is not to work at all and get paid. Will Total Seminars ever get into Data Plus trade? And the answer is, I don't know that. The people who make those decisions, they do the market research, they figure out how much it's going to cost to do that kind of training and try to figure out a return on investment. And it's a department I don't live in. I interact with them peripherally. I will try to find an answer to that, and I will post it in the feed on Mike's show or give it to Mike to respond. So let's be good. Let's save that and put it in this file right here. Bump, bump. Okay. Blue Lantern. I love Nandor from What We Do in the Shadows, and adult Colin Robinson. You know, Colin is just not my favorite character. Out of all of them, he's my least favorite. I love what they do with him, but he is such a good actor that he drains my energy just watching him act. And if you're not watching the show, there was something important there in that statement, but you'll get it. Watch the show. You can binge the first 3 seasons in a week or less. Andre, I was working 12 to 15 hours a day, 6 days a week, right up to my burnout. These days I take it easy, max 8 hours a day. There you go. So that's what I'm shooting for. I mean, in my advanced decrepitude, I should be taking it a little easier, but I can't. I have seen The Wire. I like The Wire. Love Omar, you bet. Yep, Andre was a truck driver, Naja and Dal Naja. I can live with Dal Naja. Hey, look up the lady who sings the theme song. I haven't watched it in a while. Anyway, she's got an interesting history. That song goes back to the 60s. She was a folk singer and a wild and crazy woman. Now I got to reach for lyrics. It's killing me. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead. You're dead and out of this world. There you go. Whistles Farmer and Adele. Very nice. Very good. You guys are all tossing lines out here. I shot this man in the hind parts. Stop it. You're doing it to me. Maven, Andre, talking to Andre. Who responds back? I'm looking at 43 minutes past the hour here as I'm reading questions, hoping to jump from factory to an IT job. Good for you. I'm not going to read all these lines. I don't know whether to take CCNA route or Azure Cloud. There's an easy answer to that, and nobody here knows it but you. What is your passion? What do you want to do? Take the training that you need that will help you work the job that is your passion. You will never work a day in your life. I don't work. I put in time and I accomplish projects, sometimes a little slow, but I love everything that I do for Total Seminars. So the paycheck is just icing. Hope you find a job like that too. Mike is the same way. We love what we do. And same for Scott and all the people that you come to know and love. We love this stuff. We really do. Haven't got into the IT business yet, but I'm still undecided, learning for personal development. That is smart. Get as much background and knowledge and education as experience as you can before you hang out and says, I can do this for you. Andre's finishing the degree, one more practical. Yay. Man, you really powered through that fast. Nice program. I've known you since before you started that. Tellwood cooks up a mean custom-built PC from time to time. Good. Dave Rush, only personal projects. Nah, there's still work projects, and I like them. I'll be working on the website when I go back to work next week. Not this coming week, the following. I'm off all week next week, I think. Okay, lots of people talking with each other. Is Steve here? Did I miss him? Oh yeah, Steve is here. Okay. Hey, Steve. We own this thing. Steve, I believe you will like my movie. Based on what we were talking about in the green room the other day, I am absolutely confident you will like Mad Dog Time. Norma Tanaga. Tanaga at Geladro. Somebody gets that. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh, the lighting is amazing. The sets are amazing. Continuity leaves something to be desired, but you just take it as it is, and it's wonderful. I saw the movie after I saw the first couple of seasons. It's different enough that, you really, there's a very, very broad comparison, but that's where it ends. All right. Anybody want to do a contest? I haven't done a contest in weeks. I killed a couple because nobody was interested. I have a very challenging Network Plus contest to give away free access to totalsem.com. If you want to do a contest, I need to see 4 yeses posted here. And that doesn't mean yes, 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 enter. I need 4 different people who say, yes, I want to do a contest. Andre, you just won 2 days ago. But this one will be fun. It'll be challenging. JPJ is amongst us. Welcome, JPJ. I love it. Okay, we got some people who want to play. Movie AI is modern day Pinocchio. Sure. And much more sad. Who did that? Haley Joe Osmond, Abu Bakr wants in. Very good. All right, we are going to do a contest, an El Contesto. Winner of this contest, I will pick. It's a really simple answer. What do the answers look like here? Okay, you'll be able to answer this with 2 words. But in order to come up with the answer, you're going to have to go through 2 steps. It'll take some thinking. It'll take some doing. We got plenty of time. We try to be fair, but I can't necessarily be fair. I don't know when you answer, when it appears on my screen. So the first person who hasn't over won, Andre, you're out, my friend, who hasn't won 10 times in the last year or once or twice in the last 2 or 3 weeks, because I want somebody who has never won a prize or seldom won a prize to have a shot at it, right? All right. So let me see how to set this one up. I got a couple things I got to click on and do. Oh, by the way, somebody asked me why the discount code this week was Mayflower. And there's why. Monday was December 26th. All right, but that's not what I want to do. I just happened to run across that. Okay, total tester winner. That's what we need to put up here. And then we need this document up and ready to roll. All right. Okay, so whoever I pick as the winner will win 90 days free access. I'll show you how to collect your winnings at the end of this. All right, let's start by bringing this page up. We have to share. We click on this with the lovely glowing lights in the background. What am I looking for? Share screen. All right, are you ready for the question? This is complicated. It's a two-part question. You're going to have to do some binary decimal conversion. You are. Let me make sure that's showing up on screen before. Okay, there it comes. Sorry, my controls are funky. All right, well, let's see what happens here. Here comes the question. So this is a multiple choice question. You're going to pick one answer. It came from the N10008 total tester practice test. Type in the correct answer. Don't put in A, B, C, or D. At least not choice A, not choice B, not choice C. You'll see what I mean. So here's the question. If I have an IP address where the first 2 bits are ones, right? The first octet, the first 2 bit of the first octet are 1 and 1. And the rest of the octet is zeros. So I got 8 bits in that octet, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. What class range will that IP address fall into? No matter what comes in the third, second, third, or fourth octet, you can figure out that answer just by looking at the first octet. It starts with 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Convert that to decimal. And then once you know the decimal, then you got to remember or look up the ranges for class A, class B, class C, class D, or class E. So those are your answer choices. It is either a class C address, it's a class B address, a class D address, or a class A address. I threw out E as an option. So that's it. First 2 bits of the first octet are 0, 0. The rest of the bits of the first octet are all zeros. And I see answers coming in. I have to check some of these, forgive me, for frequency or currency. No, that's not how that. Oh. All right, I got to stop the share for a second. Come back to that. Oh, well, there's a good sign. All right, I have a winner. They've won before, but it was back in April. So let me do my paperwork, and then I will share our winner. And if you won back in April, you know what? I'm going to let you win another time. JPJ, I have never seen you win. Let me check this. JPJ, you have never won and you have the right answer. JPJ, you are today's winner. Congratulations. It is a Class C address. I'm going to show this to you in a second. Give me a second to do my paperwork. Voucher winner. Okay. Winner's name and answer goes there. Save that, shrink it. All right, the answer, let me share this again. Zoom, share. It's a Class C address. The first two bits are in the 128 and the 64 column, which means it's 192. Okay, so it could be anything from 192 up to 223, and that would be in a Class C, right? 1 through 126 is Class A, 128 through 191 is Class B, 192 through 223 is Class C, 224 through doesn't matter is Class D, which is the multicast address. So nicely done, JPJ. JPJ, this is how to win. I'm going to put this for you two different ways. You're going to send an email to me, and I'm going to post this in the chat feed right now. I want you to copy and paste this because this has to get to me tonight. I'm going to submit it for the people who are coming in the office first thing in the week. So JPJ, you're going to send an email to daver@totalsem.com. In the body of the email, I must have these 4 fields. If you don't put these 4 fields in the body of the email, I'm just going to send you back a reply that says you didn't do it. Send it again. And if you don't get it to me by Monday, you drop off the list. Sorry, but that's the way the system's working these days. So you're going to give me your YouTube name, JPJ, all caps. You're going to give me your given name. I need your first name and your surname. Give me the email address in the body of the email. I know it's in your header. It has to be in the body because of what they do with these records. So give me the email address that you want me to send your access information to and which practice test you would like. And that you can get the list by going to totalsem.com and find all the practice tests we have. And congratulations, you are today's big winner and the last winner of drama. Wow, congratulations. And that is just perfecto. Let me see if anything popped up while I was doing that. And then we're going to start our trip down memory lane. Cali Powder, you were a winner, and I will make sure that you get another chance at it. Because I know the one you won in April has expired. Mike's not fair. Why should I be? I try to be fair. Mike tries to be fair. It's the system that we're kind of working against. Bicentennial Man is a modern day retelling of, okay. I've never seen Bicentennial Man. I'm not even sure I'm familiar with it. Remember something about me, November. Yeah, there's a new Pinocchio out there. 24. Okay. Was not an Apipa address. Right, because an Apipa address would start 169, which would be a Class B. I don't even know if there was a Class D and E. There is. Yep, there are Class Ds and Class E's. You use a Class D all the time. You probably never even were aware of it. When you get a Class D address, it doesn't change your existing address. It gets assigned to you in addition to your existing address. It's used for multicasting. So whenever you're watching anything live streaming, the live stream gives your system a 224 dot something address, usually 224, and that's a Class D multicast address. Final answer. The first octet can affect the second number. Not affect it, but it may have impact on whether or not what class address you're working with. What's the Jeep symbol? JPJ. Catherine Legrand. So which class? Class C. People all dressed up with no place to go. Tulawit, you just killed me. I thought you were going to have some brilliant thing on what a PIPA stands for, and not just some generic collection of words that's cute. I thought you might have something really on track as a mnemonic device to help you remember what a PIPA stands for and what it does. But no. Don't hate the player, hate the game. There you go. When the moon hits your eye like a raspberry pie, that's amore. Okay, you could argue then that that's a Pinocchio, but there's a lot of stories where robots become human, and that's just as much a takeoff. The very first robot becomes movie book was RUR, Rossum's Universal Robots. I think it was a Czech author somewhere Eastern Europe. Two robots. There was a society full of robots, but two became sentient and human. They weren't mechanical. They were flesh and blood robots. Good story. It's Battlestar Galactica. Yes, that is what APIPA actually stands for, Andre. All right. So here we go. Let me chew into a little bit of memory lane stuff. This page can go away, and here we go. Slideshow. All right, I got to move this over here, and I need another document. Oh, I know what to do with that. I was brilliant. Got to do some sharing here. So I was reviewing some of these pictures as I kind of put them together, as I kind of curated them. And I just want to share a thought or two with you. It is amazing to me in the last 2 years, we've done all this, how much stuff has changed from just a year and a half, 2 years ago, and things that haven't. So I hope you enjoy that. I'll point out some of that. Again, let me put the link up to where the picture gallery is. If you want to go see all of these in real time and live or later, here's a good thing to copy and paste. Drama picture gallery. Okay. So that way you don't have to go to the first page and then go find the gallery link. You can just go straight to that link, and then on the left side, pick drama 1 or drama 2020, drama 22, whatever. All right, pictures. So not every episode had pictures, and I try to have them all textually identified here. So, because some of them I really enjoyed doing, some of them you really enjoyed seeing. So I want to share everything with you. So let me get the big share system going. Click on that, click on that, click on that. So this was not our first episode. I'm sorry, yes, it was. This was the first drama episode. We talked about FTP, File Transfer Protocol, and the Linux file system. It was a 2-part show. So we just started by looking at how file systems work and how they're kind of laid out. Just look a lot like Windows, with the notable exception that Linux paths have // in them. This is a typical Linux file system, whether you're messing with Red Hat or Debian or most of the other ones. Most of the stuff that you see here, you will see elsewhere. Our next episode, how to build a media server. We started with Kodi, and then we took a break because we had to do an installation of an operating system. So I showed you how the SD card formatter worked at the time, and it's very different now. We had to use the old Win32 disk imager back in those days. And then once you boot it up into the new OS, this is what the installer looked like. That's gone now. It's all totally revamped. Everything is so different. Then we started getting into Plex, and eventually we put the two of them together. We use Plex to curate our shows. We use Kodi to watch them. It was a pretty cool thing. About that time, I got interested in pie holes. So we started out with a pie hole introduction that got pushed off to another show. And we started talking about how VLANs work, how switches work and VLANs. We talked about how Ethernet frames work. And then the very important part, the VLAN tag built into the frame then. And we got into how DNS works. This wasn't Raspberry Pi. This was just knowledge, what you need to know about the DNS system. And then once we had a foundation of that, then we could talk about what Pi-hole is and what Pi-hole does. Got into a discussion of MAC addresses, broadcast addresses, and again, the internals of how switches work. I'm just going to zip past all of that. Again, you got all these pictures if you want to walk out, but it was kind of cool. And then we moved with Michael Smyer, who joined us that day, to talk about bash scripting. So we introduced the basic concepts. Bash script starts with a shebang and a path to the bash processor. And then we got into comment lines and some commands and how to make it executable, executable, a couple different ways to do it. We talked about ways to use the chmod command. Yeah, this is going way back. You remember any of this stuff? You don't unless you use it regularly, but it's all there. And then what was absolutely the best show for 2 years running, Dr. Eben Upton joins us, and he stayed for a long time. He stayed for an hour and 15 minutes. Mike was on with us, and he talked everything we ever wanted to know about Raspberry Pi, the company, the product, the history, what was going on at the time. What a fun gent, and a smart guy, of course. And just enjoyed that to no end. And I introduced what we were going to do as a project a short time later, LED displays. We got into cameras. There was an episode that I did before Pi cameras, how to do, I think we did this the other way around. Right after this one, I did how to use USB cameras. What else we got here? So here's ones, everything that I've slipped past that didn't have pictures. We talked about A+ Linux commands and using Wireshark and installing it. We talked about how to install a LAMP server. We had Scott Jernigan on as an expert to talk about WordPress. We got into fail to ban as an IPS system. We talked about how to install Kali Linux on Raspberry Pi. We did a show on installing, configuring, and using GIMP, the graphics processor. And we did our first show on using SSH keys. Later this year, I did another show on them, getting more advanced about it. Here we showed you how to do some surgery on a Raspberry Pi camera so that it could be used in a telescope or a microscope, little 3D printing. So that's my setup in the backyard that I did some astrophotography with, using that same setup that you just saw there, get some light locked out of it. And I captured dozens and dozens and dozens of moonshots. This is filth on the mirror, all these black dots. But pretty darn cool, huh? For a 5 megapixel camera. Then we got into electronics. So how to make a power button. I showed you how to use breadboards and how the GPIO system, the general purpose input output pins, worked. So very introductory, how to hook up those pins to the breadboard or to each other if necessary, and some switches and some schematic wiring, where to get a switch. And then we switched and said, hey, wait a minute, I want to see when power's on this thing. How about with an LED? And we eventually combined projects and had a power switch and an LED all going simultaneously. Talking here, I did a very brief presentation on how to talk to the system using a serial port connector or to get information out. So I don't have a monitor. That's all right. As long as you've got a system that can do PuTTY or SSH or TTY or something like that, then we could use 3 specially designated pins on the GPIO to talk to it. This was an LED button. Oh, okay. What a good show this was and what a good product. This is the Sense Hat. If you can't buy a Sense Hat, they're about 30 bucks or so, then you can do a simulated version on Raspberry Pi or the Raspberry Pi version of Debian, and you can program it, you can play with it. And what you can do is write code for it and use the simulator. And then when you get your Sense Hat that can tell temperature and humidity and roll angles and velocity and all kinds of other goodies like that, then you could just take the code that you wrote on your simulator and put it into your real Sense Hat and let it run. There's a real Sense Hat. This was a new product that came out at the time, the Raspberry Pi 400. It was a Raspberry Pi 4. Little tiny bit of difference between the Raspberry Pi 4 inside this box and the PC-based one, but came with a built-in keyboard and was packaged with a mouse. It's kind of cool. We talked about Raspberry Pis on the International Space Station, and there are newer, better models up there now and more experiments. They do it every year or two. They get more Raspberry Pi stuff up there. So that's kind of cool. This is a method that you can use to add ports to a Raspberry Pi that don't exist. This is called Hub Wi-Fi. Raspberry Pi Zeros don't have USB ports. They don't have Ethernet ports. They don't have many ports and or network ports. So we can add this little guy onto, there's a Raspberry Pi underneath here. That's what those holes are. And it's screwed down and there's some contacts underneath here so that we could give a Raspberry Pi Zero some USB ports, and there's a Bluetooth version of this thing. There's our 4 pins that connect when you screw it together. I'm looking for the pins for that. Yeah. Showed some other ways to do spring pin contacts. And this is when I introduced everybody to the compute modules, the CM4s. The compute modules have a PCIe card or a interface on them. So there are folks who have developed methods of using those PCIe interfaces to integrate PCIe devices like video cards and M2 drives and things like that. Next episode, man, love this one, how to install and play Doom. Then we started talking about Rocky Linux, a version of Rocky Linux. We had 2 guests on that 2 weeks ago from the Rocky folks who develop it. Oops, sorry, we weren't there yet. This was Nmap. Did an episode on how to boot your Raspberry Pi from a flash drive or other USB device. I did a quick side trip on this thing showing you how to use one command to create an entire directory structure. We did a lot of stuff over the last years. There's just such good stuff here. Okay, that finishes the year 2022. I covered all the things here. Screen sharing has stopped. That was 2020. Let me zip through 2021. Let me talk about the ones that we didn't have pictures, and then I'll just do the picture ones here real quick. We did an audio editor called Audacity on Raspberry Pi at the beginning of 2021. We installed a virtual private network server, a VPN server on your Raspberry Pi. We installed Box86, an x86 emulator on your Raspberry Pi so you could run programs that were designed to run on x86 hardware. That led us into games and Wine, the Windows. It's not an emulator, but Wine stands for, Wine is not an emulator, but for all intents and purposes, it provides a Windows environment on Box86. So we could run Windows on there. It's really slow. We did honey pots and honey nets. I think I got slides on honey nets. I showed you how to install a certificate and Apache 2 on a Raspberry Pi. Then we got into USB cameras. I did Volumio, an online audio streamer that can receive zillions and zillions of online audio streams. I introduced eSpeak in two parts. eSpeak is a program that we run on Linux, on Raspberry Pi, and we type in text and it does text-to-speech conversion. And then later we did an episode where we said, hey, let's make this practical. Let's trigger an alarm clock in there. So whenever we trigger it with hand proximity or something like that, eSpeak will look at the variables that represent the current time and say, today is Friday, December 30th, and the time is 2314 hours and 8 seconds, whatever. So it was very cool. We played with different voices on that, different languages. About that time, the new Raspberry Pi imaging system came out, so we introduced that. It's gone through a good bit of changes, but it still looks and works the same as it did back then. Showed you a really cool thing. This is so cool. It's so powerful. It's so useful. How to clone your running SD card or other USB device, or to another USB device, in your Raspberry Pi. So this is a really cool thing. I'm working on a project for this. I want to pre-configure some images, and then once I'm happy with the configuration, I will simply clone that to a USB drive or a micro SD and provide that as a service. I can mail it, whatever. Of course, I can turn those into ISOs, but that was cool. We installed an email server. We installed, ran, and configured a monitor system for Rocky Linux. We installed and ran a Clam AV, an antivirus system, and we showed how to automate running it and make logs with crontab. We talked about a lot of command line stuff, the bang command and other useful Linux commands. I showed you on an episode how to set a static IP address. I showed you a really cool, simple graphics manipulator. Doesn't do everything that GIMP or the commercial competitors do, but it was called Image Magic. What a great little utility for doing all kinds of common video or image manipulation. For our Christmas show last year, we did tricks with SSH on the Raspberry Pi. And of course, we closed out the show with a New Year's Eve show. It's just a Q&A. So let me whip through a couple of quick pictures of that. Andromeda Pix 2021. I should look at the chat feed and see if there's any robots. I haven't heard anybody wonk at me. So we will take it on faith that things are going nicely. Go ahead. Super. Okay. I don't see any bad guys. All right. Let's share this screen. So we went back into DNS information early in 21. And I was showing you where root servers are and how they're organized. And then we started learning how recursive DNS searches work, where all the root servers were on that date, most of them anyways. And then we got into configuring and managing Pi-hole. And I think I did that because I had a Pi-hole crash. And when I reinstalled the new one, it was a little different than the old one. So I wanted to show you some neat things about that. Then we started a 3-part series on how to build a Raspberry Pi cluster, how to take multiple Raspberry Pis and get them working collaboratively together. What a fun episode. We designed it as a 3-unit box. I built a 5 because I had a couple extra lying around. But man, that was fun. And it's no different than anything that you find running 500 or 1024 systems. The technology that we use, we did a Beowulf cluster. And that was one of my clusters. That was a 4-box cluster that I was building at the time. This is the biggest Pi cluster that was built as of that date, 1060 or something. Got into Beowulf cluster information and cowl clusters. There was our Beowulf opener. So clusters have a scheduler and then they have workers. And there was my 5. He's sitting up there right next to Robbie the robot. And Robbie is covers him in this camera. Ways to hook up USB devices. There's a USB 3 to a SATA converter. This one is for handling it with more power. So one's data and power and the other is just power. So when you have a more power hungry device, you can use an adapter like that. Showed you how to set up a dynamic DNS configuration. This is this is Dyne DNS. I didn't use my system uses a dynamic DNS from No IP. I got into how NAT works. And from there, we were able to move into port forwarding. And it takes all those things together, NAT, port forwarding, and dynamic DNS to make a home-based resource that's accessible from the internet. So that we did an episode or 2 to put all that together. There's no IP. I'm using the free tier still. But I will switch to a paid tier this year. Hey, look how many of those we got through that quickly. Oh, we built a Rocket Chat server. And what's really cool about this is there was somebody in my company who looked at that and said, we could use that. And so they duplicated my efforts and we have a Rocket Chat server running in the company. Oh, this was our presentation on kiosk mode. Started here. So here you can set up a Raspberry Pi and a display, an old TV monitor, a big monitor or whatever. And it's got a web server running in it. It's got Chromium running in it in what's called kiosk mode. So you can't tell it's a browser. It just calls websites that you have programmed for it to call. You can even set up web pages at your office and it calls your office and gets updates on those web pages. And it just constantly cycles through those. If you walk to the mall and you see a crashed Raspberry Pi screen, it's probably running Chromium kiosk mode. So that was a good episode. I think I did that in 2 episodes, might have been 1. Oh, then we got into, that's the Box 86. I mentioned that. So we talked about how to run an emulator in a Raspberry Pi. That set me up to teach you a little bit about overclocking coming up later. So we introduced the concept of clock multipliers, and then we had to talk about cooling. Things get hot when you start multiplying things. So there's my ice tower, which I'm looking at right over here. We did some experiments with and without stock coolers. What did you just do? Get that out of there. Looked at some different kind of cooling solutions that were out there and checked out the numbers on those. Ice Tower was by far and away the best cooler out there. We got into honey nets. We used a particular program, and there were lots of them. Oh yeah, this was a game that I'd installed on a system from the preceding couple of weeks. I was just showing you how it works. This was an episode on a utility called Scrot, S-C-R-O-T, screenshot. So I used this to take some screenshots of things my Raspberry Pi was looking at. More Raspberry Pi cameras. How to use it with a traditional camera or lens. Just need a little adapter. And you can have some real fun. That's a that's just a 200 millimeter. I've played with a 400 since then. They put these on robots all the time. So with twin vision, you can do distance analysis and keep from bumping into things. This was the newest, latest, greatest camera to come out. This is the version 3 high quality camera from Raspberry Pi. And then there's lots of new cameras that have come out. I've got my 64 megapixel ArduCam. It's a lot of fun. We never got to do an episode on that, but expect to see that in Andromeda. Once you get your camera installed, then we had to go into the configuration utility, Raspi config, or you can do it on the graphical one now. We got into a proxy server. We created a proxy server using a piece of software called Squid or Squid Proxy. Not going to go through all that. It was all there. It was cool. And about that time, the Raspberry Pi Pico came out. Got that one still up and running here. I soldered all the pins on him, and then I bought a breadboard for it that I could use those soldered pins and plug it in and work directly on a breadboard. I have done a few Pi Pico projects with that. There's my breadboard. There's the system running. This was one of my favorite episodes, right up there with, at the time, Dr. Upton. So Raspberry Pi can do artificial intelligence and figure out shapes and objects and things like that. We're using CVE and MediaPipe. So we got into that. We did hand analysis and facial recognition. And this was all done in either 1 or 2 episodes. It's quick. So if you ever want to play with that, that is some cool beans to do. Our good friend Alex introduced me to Pi Apps, or I'd found Pi Apps and she said, oh yeah, I use that all the time. Pi Apps has changed a lot, but pi-apps.io, I think, is their website. Really neat way to install a lot of different programs. Then we started talking about Rocky. And so Rocky stems from Red Hat, and here was a slide showing all of the other distros that stem from Red Hat. There was Whitebox. And there are distros that exist now that didn't exist when we did this shot. But that led us into Rocky. This was a RetroPie episode. It also happened during Halloween. So we did a Halloween costume over at the Discord server afterward. This is Patricia Grace being Dave. Andre DeGoyer, those of you who've never seen his face, that's no makeup. Pelowit, if you've not seen his face, also no makeup. He wears a chef's hat and jacket every day and keeps a spoon in his sleeve pocket. Got Jernigan turned up as a minstrel. And there was some other people there, and Discord was acting up and we couldn't get all their pictures. Yay, Scott. Ah, Andrew. Andrew Hutz in chainmail. Jason. I think you wore that the following year too. And then we got into RetroPie. Talk you through how to install RetroPie, how to use it, how to configure it. Some pretty cool beans. We had a good time with that. It's coming up on Christmas time. So we created a Raspberry Pi powered Yule log. And I set it up. I showed you how to use cron tab so that this thing would start at some particular time of day and stop in the morning or whenever, or when you went to bed, and restart again the night before. So that was a bit of cool. And that was 2022. And it's only 34 minutes. We got about 10 more minutes worth of presentation. And then we'll do final questions and start shutting down drama for the last time. Ugly cry. Let's see what happened here. Any messages that I need to take care of? Okay, you can't type. That's fine. You're listening. So, all right, I'm picking it up at 306 messages. Need to put it on my list. I like the original Battlestar. Me too. Scott likes the new Battlestar. He liked the new Starbuck. Blue Lantern, going for a drive. Okay. Thank you, Blue Lantern. I'll see you again. Look, you're going to see me again for Andromeda. You're going to see me producing Mike's shows. I'm around. Still no Minecraft server. Are pies still hard to get? Yes. They are better though. I was in a micro center a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, just to get a freebie that they sent me. I walked in and I said, you know what? Today I am not going to get suckered. I'm going to get the freebie and I'm going to walk out. And I did. And then later I was looking up something online. Hey, I was just in this micro center. They had 5 of these models and 10 of those models. I bought them. So they're coming in. Eben Upton did an interview on December 2nd, I believe, that said he expects full supply chain to be resolved for commercial, bulk, and individual purchasers within a year. See if he's right on that, but I love that answer. So look for, by next December, much easier access again. Yes, chip shortage is still a thing. Silicon is the big holdup right now. Not physical silicon, but chips. Is Apple switching to USB-C? Apple is being forced in EU markets. Because of legislation to use, I think it's USB-C. The legislation has prohibited any kind of advancement in connectors. This is not a law of unintended consequences. This really trips my trigger, if you will. We are stifling innovation here to make it easy on people so that if I buy this, I have to buy that kind of connector, and Apple sucks because they make me buy that connector. It's a better connector. That's why. So no, you can't have new, you can't have better, you can't have innovation because the EU says so. Thank goodness. We're not seeing that in other parts of the world, but you know, where does that extend to then? You can't have an improved mileage vehicle or an improved battery vehicle because it'll be hard for some people to get. You settle with what's there. And the same goes for, you can't have a new shirt made out of a cool new breathable material. You will wear wool because it's accessible and we have sheep. All right, sorry, went Mike rant mode there. I knew I would trip your trigger, Tullowit, coming up here. There you go. Andre said the same thing. We do that all the time, Andre. Just guys, I remember more of these than I thought I would. I'm so pleased. We still got 2022 to get through too in just a couple of minutes. Andromeda possibly in production already. Maven, is Alex still around? She sent Christmas greetings to us on the unofficial Total Seminars Discord server. So yes, and Andre's in regular touch with her. So is Zach and some other folks. She's fine, honest. Oh, how cool. Turn up your chef stuff and walk into a restaurant. I am here. I am Wolfgang Puck, and I have come to evaluate your restaurant. Not that idiot who you all know and love from the UK. You're not the actual contest winner. Don't pretend you are. I can't believe that Goober tried that. I know, it's JPJ. Okay, I don't want your email on here. Goodness. Thank you. I don't love to rant. I do love to rant, but I don't live for it. Okay, one more set of slides. We go to the folder that holds these slides. We back out of 2021. We go into 2022. We fire up the first one. We go to the sharing utility. There it is. And let me run briefly through the list of shows we had a lot of shows in 2022 that were no pictures. We did an episode on how to harden SSH using a technique called banners. We talked more about DNS queries. I talked about some different utilities we could use, like NS lookup and dig and some other things like that. Did an episode on Linux keyboard shortcuts, like Control-Alt-T will launch the terminal on Raspberry Pi and other Debian distros. We installed Raspberry Pi OS on a bare metal Raspberry Pi. That was a fun episode. We installed VNC on Kali Linux because I had a Kali thing to do. And, oh, you're not seeing the picture? Stand by. Thanks for the heads up. Let me see what's happening here. Okay, click this. There was nothing to see, fortunately, if you just saw my control screen there. Let's try this again. Share screen, go to this and share. Okay, let me wait 7 seconds and make sure it pops up in the show feed. Here it comes. Okay, sorry about that. Now, why is it doing that? Warum machen Sie? All right, let me stop this share. Yeah, maybe wind up just talking about it all. All right, let me close this. I think what's happening is I've done so many things here that I've got a memory leak, but I'll try this one more time. And if not, we'll talk. I'll just tell you what there's pretty pictures of. Okay, I'm clicking on stuff. Zoom says, I am sharing the screen that I'm looking at. I'm stuck in my upper corner here. All right, let me refresh this page. I don't think that'll hurt anything, but it might. Well, I'm asking a lot of my system right now. I got 47 pages going. Okay. There's good news. I see what looks to be the cacti screen coming up on the regular feed, not the control feed. That's a good sign. Hang on, waiting for up. Bit rate is a problem, so let me get out of here. All right, I know I got a memory leak problem, but I can solve that. Sorry, guys, give me a second here. Come on, get out of there. Okay, that's out. This is okay. All right, we are happening here. We got a bit rate problem. It'll catch up here in a couple of seconds, but huzzah. All right, shrink out of there. Yeah, I can get that later. Into the share screen. All right, somebody post in the YouTube chat, are you seeing my share screen? It's a cacti control screen. Okay, we see cacti. Very good. Thank you, Telewood. All right, back to business here then. So we were talking about episodes that didn't have images and slides and pictures. We installed VNC on Kali Linux because I had a cool Kali Linux project or two coming up. Started with using Metasploit. I did another internet radio client on RPi. Did the install Doom thing that was out of order. We did not install TrueDesk because we installed OS Ticket instead. Showed you how to install Android using the Lineage OS on Raspberry Pi. That was just cooler than all get out for me. Did a deep dive into the cat command. And that was like all the way through around June. I'll get to the slides here in a second. Then we did OS Ticket. We installed Nginx as a reverse proxy on a Raspberry Pi. That was a 2-show episode. We installed Avahi, A-V-A-H-I, on both Kali and Ubuntu. It's already built into RPiOS because now we can refer to them by name. I can say piwebserver.local or whatever I named my hosts, and I didn't have to refer to them by IP address names. I did a put together episode that was really kind of cool. What do you do if you encounter a duplicate IP address between two unknown computers? So I showed you how to use Raspberry Pi to help identify and solve those problems. We talked about BusyBox. BusyBox is a scaled down version of all the Linux commands, so it's great for embedding into a low memory device. Did rsync, great backup utility, great way to keep multiple directories and subdirectories with matching revisions of files. Thank you. Just a couple months ago, we talked about Smart, how to check the health of your hard drives using Smart. And we did, I thought it was so important that we did it on Windows and on Linux. Those are all slideshow things. We did an episode on how to automate the SSH key exchange. Not the process where you're doing an SSH session, but how we're pre-exchanging the keys in an automated fashion. That was kind of cool. We just, I showed you 47 different ways and utilities and to identify your Linux versions and get some other important information about your Linux machines. 4 episodes or so ago, we accessed websites from the command line. And everything else is slideshow. So let's go get into the slides here. So this was Cacti. Cacti is an SNMP manager. It's a utility to see what's going on various devices that are running SNMP agents. Really cool utility. Shows you how SNMP works. And then we did AirCrack. So with AirMon and AirCrack, we were able to capture a Wi-Fi password and then hash it and check it against a hash table to find it. That was really kind of slick. So here was a WPA capture. We could do it with WPA2 and WPA3 even. We got into how to use a little OLED organic LED display on a Raspberry Pi. Showed you a couple of different types of them, how you could set up a very quick, simple, easy one using a tiny little breadboard. Even showed you where to buy them, how to wire it up. And hey, that thing's talking to a real Raspberry Pi, showing temperature and text and all kinds of goodies. That was a fun episode for me. And then we got into all the electronics. Here was 3 episodes. I think the 3 best project episodes of the entire series. Episode 1, what is a ticketing system? Episode 2, how to install and configure a particular ticketing system, OS Ticket. And then episode 3, we brought in 3 guests from the company that makes OS Ticket, and they demonstrated how to configure and use it. Oh man, that was just eat them up alive. And Andre posted a couple of days ago that he's going to install this here. Did an episode on how to wipe disks using the shred utility and a couple of other utilities. Then we did a few episodes on Ansible. Ansible is a program that automatically provisions other hosts. It adds software, it installs programs, it removes software, adds files, removes files. It manages containers. It's really amazing, really powerful. It's something that if you're going to do system administration, you got to be familiar with. And there's a couple competitive products that we mentioned in there. There is a product out there not available for Raspberry Pi called CPU-X. It's like CPU-Z. It's not as good as CPU-Z. It's not as complete, but does run on a lot of Debian-based distros. So I showed you what that is, where to install it from, how to install it, and how to use it. Did an episode of a hobby of mine, how to do DJ mixing using a program called Mix, M-I-X-X. Runs on Debian distros, runs on Raspberry Pi. You can do it with a DJ controller or without a DJ controller. I've been having a ton of fun with that since that episode. I've talked to the developers on there. We had one kind of lined up to come talk to us 2 weeks ago, or last week, but the wheels fell off the wagon. He will be on Andromeda. They will be on Andromeda. And showed you some DJ controllers that don't even need a computer if you have a lot of money. There's about $4,000 worth of box there. 2 weeks ago, Greg Kurtzer and Skip Grube, senior developer, CEO of CIQ, which runs the Rocky development group, killed an entire 2 hours with us, teaching us everything we wanted to know about Red Hat and Rocky and FOSS and upstream development and downstream development and how the business works. And holy Hannah. And I killed a half an hour with them in the green room before the show, and then another half an hour with them in the green room after the show. Definitely greatest show of 2022. And to wind things up, my unveiling here, this is going to be the banner page that you see on Andromeda. And I did this with GIMP on a Raspberry Pi. Hand drew myself there to perfection. Okay, not. But did all the layering and everything. And that's the animal. So be ready to see him in full scale in about a month. Well, guys, that's been 123 episodes, guys and gals and guys. You get the idea. 123 episodes of drama. I cannot tell you what a joy it's been to come to know so many of you, to share information with you, and to know that we're going to continue to do that in the future. This is not the end. This isn't one of those situations where, you know, the company kills the project and yeah, you can do another one again someday. This is me. I killed this project because it no longer fits the need that it was designed to provide. And so let's kill this. I see a new need out there. I'm going to fulfill it with my show and my vision, and it won't have anything to do with Total Seminars. You're not losing me. So within a month, the show will be back online, or a show will be back online. Our good friend Andromeda, a new Dave Rush Ask Me Anything, Digital Alchemy. I got so many things planned for that show. There'll be audio only versions of it for podcasting. There'll be live versions. Yeah, Gordon Ramsay. Ugh, what a jerk. Sorry. He's such a caricature of himself in my mind. I know his fame and his fortune and all that. I think the first, what the hell is that? The first time I ever heard of him was on a Britcom called Chef. And it was an interview with the lead character, Lenny Henry, who said he based his chef character on Gordon Ramsay, and nobody in the US ever heard of him back then, 80s, 90s, whenever that was. And then since then, I found him cleaning out the dust bunnies under my sofa the other day. He's everywhere. He's just, It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. All right, let's go see what's on the shutdown feeds. And let's get this thing up for its last business. I got to get my tissue ready. All right, so I'm looking at 3:37 my time, 37 minutes past the second hour. Oh, here, let's repost all the junk one last time. Okay, there's the Pi Square server. How are we doing on time here? 5 minutes, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Here's the AMA specials and the code for this week. Email addresses and LinkedIn. I'll still be posting stuff all over the place on LinkedIn, but nothing changes. You just don't see me on Fridays for the next week. Then things get back and they get even better. And to my mind, this was all pretty darn good. Hang on, just lining up the shutdown page. What are you doing? Well, that's just weird and a half. Okay. All right. So like I said, there's no show on Monday. Mike's he'll be recovering from 4 days in New Orleans, hanging out on Bourbon Street. Mike and Steve will be together on Wednesday talking about Active Directory. Nothing going on Friday. And then the following week, things get back to normal, 2 shows a week until we figure out what's going to happen new. All right, checking the last of the posts. Catherine Bryan, thanks for all your efforts, including tutorials and answering questions and emails anytime. Don't hesitate to email me anytime, anywhere. Catch me on Discord. I'm there. This is the best of the worst dishes ever. Yeah, let's do Ramsay lines. It's raw. Where's the lamb sauce? Good Lord. So full of himself. He's going to watch this and write me. Where do you get off telling me? Sorry, I super scrolled. If I run long, I run long. Chef Jean-Pierre's YouTube channel is your latest obsession. Okay. Screenshot for cacti. Things are working. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, good, good, good. Gordon Ramsay, Robert. Robert Jean-Pierre. Yeah, don't say it 3 times. Python Plus with Dave Rush. Yeah, if I spoke that much Python. Alex! Alex! Might be slightly off topic, but I'm cooking for tomorrow's dinner with friends and I felt the need to jump in and say hi. Alex, hi. And Alex, drama bids you goodbye. Hey, by the way, we just ate your cheese last week. And one other thing, we finally finished off the package you sent 2 years ago. I'm a patient guy and I'm just waiting for the right food and the right meal for that. And so we downed Parmesan and something that was in a jar. I'm sorry, my missus cooked and I forgot. Ah, man, chow indeed. And I won't say Milo Grazie because I learned that's stupid. First I heard Dave was during an AMA with Mike when I was asking questions. Some guy named Dave kept answering, who is this guy? But I'm stealing Mike's thunder. I do that. I still do that. It's because I know he's going to miss certain questions. Usually, if I run across a question that I know he's not current on, that's my job, is to stay ahead. And then I post research on our back channel so he can refresh. Oh, yeah, okay, I know everything about that. Or, oh my gosh, that's new. I never heard of that. Here, I can sound, but yeah, we know he's brilliant. It's all good. No, 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 no. Don't send more food. That was way too expensive. It was lovely. God, it was lovely. I don't know where to begin. So you are my princess, my out of country princess. And we are planning our trip now. The kid graduates this May. And so we will be traveling all over the place for 3 weeks. And as we noted before, we talked about this about a year and a half ago. You will find me in England. You will find me in Eindhoven. You will find me in Milano and some other places. But you guys, maybe Hawaii. Maybe Hawaii. We'll see. I hadn't thought about that much. Okay, kids. It is 4 o'clock and 26 seconds, according to Mickey's big hand. And that means it just sickens my heart, but it is time to say goodbye to drama. Not saying goodbye to you. You are not saying goodbye to me. We will get together again. But until that happens, a month from now or in back channels, I wish you all not just the greatest rest of the week. I wish you the greatest rest of the year and all of the year 2023. As ever and always, my gratitude to Mike and Total Seminars and National Cyber Group and everybody else who has made drama possible. Mostly, I thank you. This show doesn't happen without you. It didn't happen without you, and Dramata will not happen without you. So we'll do it again. Take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. And if at all possible, call or visit your parents. And never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have, you know it, it's you and I. So with that, good night. My note says, I will see you on the AMA. I will see you on the AMA again next Wednesday. I will never, I'm choking up here. Stop it. I will never see you on drama again. I will see you on Andromeda again. So until then, until next week, I love you guys all. You are my second reason for living. Thank you. All right, here goes the big button. Later, not goodbye. Arrivederci. All right, later, guys.